All right, welcome back to the third episode of the Memorability website. Now, my wife pointed out that I had misspelled Memorability in the title. However, I think that's the domain I bought. So I don't know if I misspelled it or not, but I'm going to keep that. Oh, I just noticed. Also, didn't put my earrings back in after I showered. So we're off to a fantastic start to this live stream. Let me turn off my AC. See if that helps with some of the noise. So what we're doing is I'm building a personal project, and I've invited you guys to sit in and watch me build it, and we can just hang out and chat if you guys have anything you want to say, or if you guys have any questions about anything you see that I'm working on, feel free to throw that into the chat. I will be monitoring the chat on Rumble and on YouTube, and maybe later I will also stream another episode of the Morrowind playthrough, the blind playthrough that we're doing there. But let's get going. I'd like to have goals at the beginning of these thing, and I think what I want to get done today is I want to finish up creating everything to do with migration so that we can start building out our database, and then in the next episode I'd like to get all the login and registration stuff done. Okay, so let's get going. Let me switch over to my screen here. And here we are. So where we've left off is we have been working here in the API, and we have inside app, we have commands, and we created this generate migration command file in the last video, but we haven't done anything here. So I think I'd like to go ahead and finish this command, and then we'll build some more commands for running migrations and for running them back, or downing the migration. So let's see, we have, let's look at core. Okay, we don't even have our migration file built out yet, which is fine. Yeah, it is what it is. We'll grab that from Rua, I think. So no big deal there. Let me just go ahead and see if I can find that really quick. Sorry about that. We are going to want... All right, let's see. All right, I found it. Let me go ahead and grab the migration file. Okay, so inside of our core here, let's build out a new class, and we're going to call this migration.php. We'll add that. So then our namespace is going to be app core. This is one of our core classes. So class, well, actually, I think I can just paste the entire file in here that I got from Rua. So that's on Bitbucket if you guys want to get a copy of this. This is all from there. We are going to add some functionality here, I think, because I don't like how some of this is done. Anyway. Well, actually, it looks like it's going to be pretty good. Okay, so we need to, the namespace here is going to be app core, and we're going to use app core DB. Although we might have to do that a little bit differently, because yeah, we're going to have to do something a little different here in the constructor. So instead, what we're going to do in the constructor is we're going to do global container, because we'll have that container available to us. And then we'll set this DB equal to container get DB. I think that's all we need to change there, so we don't actually even need to import that. So that should be good to go. So let's work on this generation, the migration file now. So the key up here, we need to give it a sensible command key. So I'm going to put generate migration, just like that. And then this description will say, create a new DB migration. All right. In the handle function, what I want to actually do, instead of having a migrations folder that has all the migrations in a single folder, I want to actually organize those better. So what I'm going to do is create a year, month, and day directories. So let's go ahead and set up the date. So we'll do a new date time object here. And then year will be equal to date format. And we'll just grab the year. Month is going to be equal to date format lowercase m, and the day will be equal to date format, and this will be D. Now we have the current year, month, and date, and so then the file name, let's just concatenate on migration, and then we're just going to concatenate on the current timestamp, because we want these to run in order all the time. The extension, we're just going to say that's going to be equal to .php. And so let's set it up. Directory is going to be equal to our base path. And we'll concatenate on /db /migrations. Okay, and then / and then we're going to concatenate on year / month. Oops. Concatenate on / and then our day. So our full directory path will be this. And then we're going to check if that exists already. So if not, is directory dir, then we are going to make dir we'll give this a permission of, I don't know if we should do, it defaults to 777. That might be a little loose. We should probably do something like 755. And then we'll do recursive true, so it generates those files. So that will create our directory if it doesn't exist already. And then our full path is going to be equal to the directory, and then we'll concatenate on / let's see, dir / file name, and then after the file name, we'll put on the extension. All right, so that's our full path. Now we just need to build out the contents of our migration. So content, let's do a here doc on that again. Content Okay. So PHP, we'll do a namespace, and the namespace of these are always going to be app core migration. And then the class will be file name extends migration. We actually also need to do a use statement. So use app core migration to bring that migration class in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add two functions here, a public function up, and then we'll skip down and we'll do a public function down. So every migration will have an up and a down so they can clean itself up. And I think that's it. So now we have our content set. By the way, we could indent this with modern PHP, but any sort of older PHP file, any sort of indentation would break that. So I just get in the habit of putting these here docs unindented like that. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is we're going to do response, and that's going to be file put contents. So we're going to put the contents of this right here into our full path. So that will be full path content. And then if response is true, then we're going to do this info migration created successfully. Else we'll do this info error creating migration, and we'll give that a type of error. Just double check. Any guys said anything? All right, no one said anything yet. Probably no one watching. That's okay. If these will be recorded and if somebody gets something out of it, that's good. All right, so we have this now, so let's go ahead and try it out. So if I'm exec into my Docker container here, you can see that dev at, and this is my Docker ID. So we'll do PHP runner generate migration. And we didn't get any errors, and it said migration created successfully. So let's go see if that's true. So inside of our directory, we have DB migrations 2023. So I don't see a file in there. What could have gone wrong here? It did create the 2023 directory, it looks like. Let's look and see status. Oops. CD source API. Yeah. New file. Migration spelled wrong. Nice. Let's fix that real quick. Refactor, rename. We have a capital I. Refactor that. Okay. Weird. So what happened? Content, file put contents. It got true on this. Did it not create? Let's go ahead and start debugging it. So let's look at our full path. It's saying our full path is var www HTML API DB migrations 2023 09 30 migration. I wonder if we didn't have permission, but you would think. Let's set this back to 777 and see if that works. It might not have had permission. Okay, that doesn't seem to be working either. It's not creating all the directories. DB migrations, year, month, day. Let's see if we can get any. DB migrations. So properties on this, unreadable. List files only. Create, delete, no list for the owner. Oh. Let's try this. Well, this should have worked. It's probably, okay. I think the permissions are really messed up. So let's go ahead and DB into it, or CD into it. ls-la migrations. So 2023 here. ls, oops. CD DB ls-la migrations. Okay, let's do a sudo change mod. Let's try 775 migrations, and let's make that recursive. LA. Okay, let's try to run this again. I think there was a permission issue. I think I set those a little too tight. I think we can actually run this as 775, not 777. Let's try it again. So let's back up. PHP runner, generate migration. Okay. Okay, so now we do have a couple new migrations. So here's our file. Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and delete these though. Cool. All right, so we got our folders. 775 seems to be working fine. So that's good. Actually, let's go ahead and build out the migration. Well, I'm going to add that one more. So this one will be an actual migration. So let's... What, did it not work again? Might be taking a little bit to sync the files over. CD DB migrations. So the file is there. Yeah, it's just taking a minute to sync it back to my host directory for some reason. So I wonder why that is. It is here. It's really strange. Let's just try this. I'm gonna run Docker compose down and bring it back up. Docker-it memorbility web batch. Dang it. Docker exec -it. There we go. CD API. See if it's in there now. Why? LSDB migrations 2023 930. Here's my migration. Why is it not showing up in my editor here? I've not had this problem in a long time where Docker... I guess let's set this back to 777 and see if that fixes the issue. Let's see. Change mod -r 777 db migrations. All right, well, let's try to generate migration. Oh, they are showing up on my... So this is not a Docker issue. Move that one to the trash. This is an IDE. My IDE is not picking this change up. That's strange. Ah, the joys of developing sometimes. There it is. Wow. Hopefully we don't have to reboot IntelliJ every single time we add a migration. That's not normal. I don't have to do that any other time. Okay. So let's go ahead and build out our users table. I'm going to turn my AC back on, guys. I'm sorry, it's really hot in here. Let me know if that's too annoying on the sound. So the way this is going to work is we're going to build out a table, and the tables are going to be equal to users. Also, let me see, I'm going to go to this create table, primary key. I'm going to change these IDs to big ints instead of regular integers. Yeah. So the table, let's do this, create table, pass in the table name, and then we're going to do this, add column and the table, and then the column name. Let's do, we're gonna have account ID. That will also be a big int. Add column. We're gonna need a first name. That's going to be a string with a size 255. Last name, also a string. We're going to add another column, the table. This will be email, be a string, size 255. Password, string, size we'll probably just set this to 75, I think. We'll be fine on that. Email, password, first and last name. What else might we want? Let's store the last login at. This will be a date, time. This, add column. Let's do a force password reset, and this will be a Boolean. And let's give this a default value of 0. Add column, table, we'll do email confirmed. That will also be a Boolean. And we'll give it a default value also of 0. Let's see, force password reset, email confirmed. First and last name, email password, account ID. Let's do another Boolean. This one we will do active. We'll make that default to yes. And then let's add timestamps. Okay, and let's add our soft delete. Then let's add an index. Let me look at this add index method. Table. I don't really want to pass name and columns into this. I think I just want to set this we'll just leave it. I think it's fine. So we're gonna add an indexed for email. Actually, you know what? This isn't fine. I'm gonna get rid of the columns here, and we're just gonna rename name to columns. name is going to be equal to string replace. So we're going to search for commas and replace those with underscores on columns. Yeah, I like that. And so we'll do the same thing. Let's also update the drop index. So columns, columns, and then name is going to equal to string replace. Search for that, replace it with underscores, columns, soft delete, good. Okay, I'm liking that. Let's try it. Actually, so that builds out our users table. We need a couple more tables, so let's go ahead and add those. So we'll say, let's add a table called access tokens. Add, create table. This, add column. And we want to create a column user ID. And this will be a big int. Add column token. It's going to be a string. And the size of this, we'll just do 255, I think. We might need to go bigger on that. I'm trying to decide if we're going to use JWT tokens or just generate our own token. I think we'll just generate our own token. So we don't need 255. How long do we want our tokens to be? Let's just do 75 here. That should be good enough. We're not going to do soft deletes. This is going to be an actual delete. And so we're going to add an index on user of table user ID, and we'll also add an index for table and token because we're going to search by both. Probably should add some foreign keys too to this user ID. So I don't have, let's look that up. Foreign key constraint MySQL example. Let's see. MySQL constraint form, you give it a name, then the form key, person ID, references, persons. So this is the table and then the column. So let's, I don't think I have a foreign key, so let's do that. Let's add that after our indexes. Soft delete. Okay, we'll do it right here. Public function add foreign key. It's going to get a table. It's going to get the column. ref table, and then ref column. Okay, so that was add foreign key, alter table, add foreign key. Let's add all of this. Add foreign. Let's try this. I don't know if this is gonna work or not. So put this in. All right, so here we go. Alter table, table, foreign key. This will be the column. References, ref table, and in here, ref column. Okay, and then we'll do response is equal to not this db query SQL error. This print color response and the message is going to be adding foreign key on table column references ref table ref column. All right, let's try that. Let's go add foreign key. Let's add foreign key, and we're going to add the foreign key on the user ID, and that's going to reference our users table, and it'll be the ID column. So let me look at the create table. Yeah, it's just underscore ID. All right, so that'll add a foreign key. Let's add one more table. And this is going to be email confirmations. This create table. This add column. To the table, we're going to add the user ID. That'll be a big int. This add column. We'll add table and another one called token. That's going to be string with a size of, let's say, 75 again. And then we'll add index to both of those. Let's see, do we need it by token? Yeah. And then we're going to add a foreign key constraint for user ID. The reference table is users. References the column ID. Perfect. Okay, I think these three tables are what we need to get the first bit of user login stuff done. So we need to write our down method now. And so the down method, we're going to do this drop table. And the first one we'll drop is, we need to go backwards. So we'll do email confirmations, especially because we did the foreign key constraint. Access tokens. Let's drop table users. All right. So what I'm going to do, we have a migration written, but now we don't have a way to run it yet. So we need another command to run all of our migrations. So we have this built out. We're expecting to create 3 tables with this migration, and we want to be able to run up and down methods on this. So let's go and just build that out real quick. So let's go back here to our PHP runner. So we have generate command. So let's generate a new command. The command that we're going to generate here, let's do, we called the last one, what did we call it? I want to kind of be generate migration. We'll just call this run migrations. Okay, it says it created it. So run migrations command. The key, I want it to be migrations run. Run all available migrations. Okay. So then we need to build this out. This is going to be a little bit of a complicated command, I think. Not super bad, but it's not going to be super easy either. First, let's pull in our container because we're going to need to check the database. So global container, and then we'll say db is equal to container get. Oh, this gets from our dependency injector, db. So now we have access to the database. The next thing we need to do is let's go ahead and get the db name. We should be able to use the env method here because of the .env function, but let's test that. So dump and die db name. Let's try it. PHP runner. Now you can see we have a new migration called migrations, or a command called migrations run. PHP runner migrations run. Undefined function env. So let's create env. Let's go to helpers, function. Wait a minute. If not function exists, env, then we're going to create a function called env, and then it will pass it a key. And we are going to return. Let's add a default here as well. So the default will be equal to null. So we're going to return our ._server key we'll do a null coalesce and then return default. So let's run that again and see what we get. Undefined function env again. That should work if DD works. Function env. The command runner should be setting this up for us. Just try again. Maybe it hadn't synced by the time we... Oh, there we go. Null. Okay, good. So let's go to our env file now, and we don't actually have our database stuff yet in here. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll do db connection. Let's look at our core. Oops, wrong thing. Let's look at our providers, db. Oh, I don't have this set up yet. Great. Okay. Well, cool. DB connection. We could do other ones besides MySQL. For now, yeah, let's just keep it like this. MySQL, DB name, DB database. What do I call it? Memorbility. And there's no, this is a YAML file, Curtis. DB user, root, DB password, just double check here. Copy that. And we need our DB host. And in our case, it's going to be MySQL as well. Most of the time, if this were live, this would probably be localhost. But since we're doing a Docker container, the host will also be MySQL, and Docker will figure out the right IP address for us on that. Double checking my chat. See, we've been streaming for 52 minutes. All right, let's try this now. And there we go. Now we get memorability. Perfect. We are going to need to set up that database provider as well. So I'm going to grab on this constructor for the DB this PDO. What do I want to do here? We got to change it up a little bit. I think we'll pass PDO into this, and we'll just say this PDO is equal to PDO. And then what I'm going to do, actually, we don't need a try on that. I'm going to grab all of this, get rid of that, and then in our DB provider, inside of here, what we're going to do there is connect to our database. need to look at the provider factory. Build container set key service passes in the container. Okay. Okay. Let's paste this in here. And what we're gonna do, I think, just double checking all of this. Yeah, let's go ahead and get host. That's gonna be equal to env db. Actually, yeah, db host. We need password. Let's change this one to connection. db connection. So we have our connection, our host, user. Actually, let's do db name, database, user, db user, and one more for password, db password, and we'll pass an empty string as a instead of null on that. So now we should be able to, I'm gonna change this to we'll do some string interpolation. So connection. So get rid of MySQL here. Host is going to be equal to host db name is equal to db name and then I think let's set this to user. I might have to look up this. I want to make sure I did that right. But let's try it. Instead of setting all this to this PDO, let's just set this all to PDO. PDO. Sorry, mustache hairs are going up my nose. That's awesome. Okay, so PDO, and then if this all works out, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna say this, our let's see, we got the connection coming in, so we'll say connection. Wait a minute, the provider sets the key to the service. Service is new provider. I don't know if I want to pass the whole class back. Kind of rethinking how I want to do this. Because what I want to do is maybe we return, in this case, return DB, and in this case, return new database, and we pass PDO into that. Private construct. Let's set that to public. This get instance method isn't really gonna work for us. Let me see if we find usages of that in the model. We're gonna get rid of it. So this was set up as a singleton before, and I like that, but now that we're using a container, I need to do something a little bit different. Maybe what we do here is we say global container, and then we return container get DB, something like that. Something like that. I don't know. We'll see if we even do it this way. We might not do it this way. So we don't need this instance here. Let's see if we get any errors when we go to localhost. App providers PDO not found, line 15. Yeah. Use PDO. Use PDO exception. Well, we didn't get a database error. So let's see if, let's just dd PDO here. It's an object. Let's go to our public index file because I just want to test this. So after this provider is built, I want to dd container get db because I want to see what this database object is returning. See, it is returning the whole provider. Dang it. What I want to return is the database class. So we're not going to be able to do that the way that I've done this. Okay, that's fine. We just need to change a couple things. Service key. So the service, instead of running this, what we can do, we could actually run provider register, and we'll pass in the container, and we won't need this new keyword. All right, so provider factory. database provider. So instead of doing a construct here, let's change this to a public static function register. And let's see how that works. Undeclared access to undeclared static property app core key on line 12. Service. Oops. Provider key. Now we're getting a database object return. Okay, now I'm happy with this. Okay, so we'll do it that way. Instead of just doing a constructor, we'll just add a public static function here. Our providers, we probably should have some sort of interface or something to protect that. I'm not going to worry about it too much for right now. Okay, so we have our database set up. Let me go back to the index and remove this dump and die. And let's try to mess up our, let's just test this and see if we can still get in. Ooh, I would expect to see an error here. DB provider, we're trying, we're catching it. Should kill the application. Weird. PDO exception. Our index file. App error middleware display error details. DD container get database. How is there no error here? Am I changing the wrong env file? No? Yes, I am. Dang it. I'm changing the wrong env file to test that. Let me close that so I don't keep doing that. All right, unknown database. Okay, that's what I expected to see. Perfect. So now I can get rid of this. All right, we are actually connected to the database. So now we should be able to try to run migrations. Well, not yet. We have to finish our script here. So we got down to the database name here. So now what we want to do is we need to check a table. And we might have to create a table if it doesn't exist. So let me, actually, I'm going to pull up my run migration script. Just give me 1 second here. Yeah, I'm just gonna copy. Alright. Sorry, I didn't want to rewrite all this because this part's a little crazy. Alright. So we're gonna show tables like migrations. We're gonna store previous migrations that have been run here, and then the migrations that need to be run here. So if there's not a migrations table, we're going to need to create that. I thought I had in my reference inside Rua, I thought I created a database if it doesn't exist. All right. Select migration on migration. Let's go ahead and if empty migration table. Let's go ahead and create the table here. So we'll do db query create table. So I need to go, let's look at our migration file here. Create table. I'm going to copy all of this. Right. Oops. And then equal to create table if not exists. So in this case, we're just going to put in migrations. Have an ID, primary key, and then we'll add a few more columns here. So let's add a column for migration, and this will be a var 255. That might be all we need. Yeah. Var 255. So that'll create the table. So db query table. Okay. Then we don't need this if statement here. Oops. Yeah, we don't need this if statement. Previous migrations, so then it'll query that table, select migrations from migrations, result. So those are our previous ones. Let's run this and see if it creates that table. I still have that dump and die. I think we're still having sync issues. There we go. Just taking a while for my files to update. Let's check the database now. So we'll go tables, refresh. There is a migration here. You know, we probably should have added, we need to add an index on this. So I'm going to delete this table. And let's add primary key. Let's add an index. I might have to look up. I'm going to look up an example. SQL or MySQL create table with index example. Index we want to use the create index. Oh, it's just index. Okay. Column 1 index, and we're going to index migration. Let's see if that works. Alright, let's go down, refresh here. Table, migrations created. Property, let's go to indexes, and we have one for migration. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. The next thing that we need to do is let's go back to this. So this will create our table if it doesn't exist. The next thing that we're going to do is get our migrations files. And so the way that's going to work, migrations run. Let's see. I'm going to go down. Previous MIGs. Underneath this, we are going to RII is equal to a new recursive iterator. And then we're going to pass in a new recursive directory iterator. And we're going to look in the base /db/migrations. Okay. Then what we can do in migrations equal, let's just set up a couple of arrays here. Migrations map. All right, for each RII as file, we're going to say if file is a directory, we're just going to continue. Okay. Then what we're going to do is say file name is equal to file get. Now we've used this on the last episode, these iterators, so we have access to the file name. And then we'll say our current migration, and now we need to get rid of that .php, so we'll just do string replace. So we're going to replace the .php with an empty string on the file name. So now we'll have the file name minus the .php at the end. And we're going to say if in array current migration, if that's in the previous migrations that have run, so previous MIGs, then we're going to continue. Else, what we're going to do is migrations map, and we're going to pass in the current MIG as a key, and then we'll tell it the file get path name. So now we'll have the migration and the path to get it. And then we're going to say migrations. We're going to add the current migration to that. Okay, so we need to run these in order. So let's go ahead and do an A sort on migrations. So this is going to recursively get every migration out of all of the different directories that we have, since we split them up by year, month, and day. And then we're going to sort those, and that sort's going to get them all by timestamp, because remember we added the timestamp to the end of all of our migrations. Okay, so we have the A sort. So next, we're just going to do for each migrations as migration. And what we want to do here is say our path is equal to migrations map migration. And we're going to require once path. And then MIG is equal to new migration. Let's look at these real quick. So migration constructor is CLI. We don't really need that stuff here. So let's just get rid of that. Let me search for is CLI. We're gonna hard code that. Is CLI is equal to true. Oops. And then new migration. And then what we're going to do is we're going to run the migration up method. So you see in our migrations file how we have an up method. Well, this is going to run that for each migration. And then we're going to say migrations run. And we're going to put that migration in there. Next, what we're going to do is after we're done running all the migrations, we have this migrations run. We need to add those to the database so they don't get run again. So what we're going to do there is well, we can just do it here. So db insert, and we're going to insert into the migrations table the migration and then at the end we're just going to do a message, and we're going to say if size of migrations run, if that's equal to 0, we're just going to do this info. We're going to say no new migrations to run. Else, we're going to say migrations complete. All right, let's try to run it. right. So now we have a problem. The class migration 112098 is not found. Okay. So that points to this require once. So the path get file name. Let's dump and die path here. DB migrations 169.611.2098.php. That looks right to me. 2098.php. So it's almost as if the require once. Let's try again. I wonder why our let's look at that migration, make sure we don't have an error in here. Migrations. Error class not found. Let me just double check. Migration not found. 53. Why is this not working? Let's see, let's dump and die file exists path. See if that's true. It is true. It's being required. That's true. How is this not? address 112098. One two zero nine eight. I don't know what's wrong. Fire once should be pulling this in. Namespace. Let me. I think it's because we are defining the namespace here in the migration. Let's try that. If that works, we need to change up. Okay, that started to work. Undefined array key string on line 62. So let's fix two things. The generate migration command, we need to remove this namespace here so that it doesn't add that every time. And then the string, this type string, is a problem. Let's see. String. Oh, I don't have string in here, so I'm gonna add that. For string, that's the same as bar. But that's not gonna work. Let's go and delete. Refresh. We're gonna delete this users table. Let's try again. Clear. Does not have a. Dang it. Car column. All right. Delete that table again. All right, we got further. Now we don't have a Boolean. Boolean is going to be the same as a tiny int. So let's just add that. Boolean is going to be the same as tiny int column and bool as well. But if I accidentally type that later, we'll do a tiny int column on that. All right, one more. We're getting through it. Things will smooth out once we've tried out all of our functions. Okay, we got all the way to access tokens now. So I'm assuming it's probably the foreign key access violation. Foreign key user ID references users ID database 20. Yeah, so MySQL foreign key constraint example. Alter table constraint name. Yeah. Insert drop table. Drop foreign key. Okay. So let's see, I have an error in that. We also didn't do our drop foreign key either. So let's find it. Add foreign key. Alter table. Constraint. We have to give it a name. So I'm going to say fk underscore. We'll add the table to that underscore. And then, actually, let's build this out like this. Name is equal to fk underscore table underscore, and then we'll concatenate on string replace. We're looking for commas. We're going to replace those with underscores, and that will be the column name. Which I don't actually think we need to do that, but whatever. Name. All right. Foreign key. Column. References. Oh, I guess we need to on update and on delete cascade as well. So let's add cascade update is going to be equal to false. Cascade delete false. All right. So we have this. If cascade update, then we're going to do SQL, and we're going to concatenate on update cascade. On update cascade. All right. If cascade delete SQL space on delete cascade. There we go. All right, that should work now, but let's go ahead and just public function drop foreign key table column and SQL is equal to alter table drop constraint, and this name response is equal to not this db query SQL error message dropping foreign key name. This print color response message. Okay, so let's try again. We've got to